Having been in the English learning and teaching field for over 15 years now, having attended all kinds of conferences for English learners and teachers, I can tell you with 100% certainty that there is a difference between sounding fluent and being fluent. And what many people teach you is to sound fluent without actually being fluent. And that is turning into something that most learners want to achieve. Personally, I have an issue that I take with anything that is less than authentic. So one technique that is shared everywhere that is supposed to help people sound fluent is the usage of fillers. Fillers are words and phrases like, you know, I mean, I think. These are meant to take up time, especially if you're an exam candidate and you are doing an exam. People will give you this technique. Never keep silent. Instead of gathering your thoughts, say something like, I mean, fill in every pause. Honestly, I don't think that's a good impression to make on the examiner or the interlocutor. I think there are better ways of doing so. For instance, you can give yourself time by saying something like, can I just gather my thoughts for a moment? I would like to take a moment to think about this. That's a really good question. See if you can actually make use of pauses. Notice how public speakers talk. They don't fill in every single pause. Nor should you. I'm going to give you a list of expressions that I think are far better than those I feel and I think and I mean and I know expressions that are taught to people in order to help them sound more fluent. Can you hold on for a second? I need to gather my thoughts. Let me just think about it for a moment. Let me think about it. Let me gather my thoughts. That's a very good question. Let me consider it for a moment. I'm going to contemplate it for a moment. Let me think how I can answer your question in the best way. You can play around with those expressions. For example, you can Google words for think and find out what shades of meaning each of those verbs will have. For instance, you can say, I reckon, I gather, I consider it to be, I regard it as, etc. if we're talking thinking verbs. And honestly, there is nothing wrong about taking time to think. In fact, it's much better than blurting out some nonsense, hoping that will make you sound fluent. So my hope is for you to learn from this video, to rely on your authentic sense of being an intelligent person who is feeling confident enough to take pauses and breaks during a conversation, to contemplate what you are going to say next, instead of blurting out some nonsense. It's not a feature of an intelligent person, nor is it a feature of a fluent person, someone who's fluent in a language, to just fill in all the room with constant blabber, not even giving yourself time to take a breath. Thanks for listening.